Ideally, Jimmy Garoppolo is going into a situation where he doesn't have to play week 1 because he's still recovering from the shoulder. He hasn't done anything really on the field. Again, he's throwing the ball with really good zip, but he hasn't moved around, thrown on the run, made different throws. So it's got to be a place that has their starter for week 1, but may not feel comfortable they got their starter for week 18. And maybe a place where they feel like they're building something and they just need a stable veteran presence. I will say a place that knows Jimmy Garoppolo well, which is the Houston Texans. Nick Caserio was in New England when they drafted Jimmy. He's going to have a natural familiarity there. They've got Davis Mills, who the coaching staff really likes. Is Davis Mills the guy for all 18 weeks? Maybe he is. Maybe you never need Jimmy Garoppolo. But if, in fact, I wouldn't anticipate they're going to trade for him. Anything's possible. Wouldn't anticipate the trade for him. But if he gets released, that is a potential fit for Jimmy.
For me, I'm going with Seattle. I think we've watched him throughout the preseason. We saw some Drew Lock. We saw some Geno Smith. And we haven't been overly impressed. And I think while I would be excited to see him in Seattle, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. We talked about them being one of the best wide receiver duos in the NFL. Getting Jimmy G as a quarterback, I think, will help uplift them. And a division kind of rival going there. I think the storyline surrounding that. Seattle knows him. They've been playing against him since he's been there in San Francisco. But for Jimmy, you'd get a chance to go to Seattle, play against the 49ers, play against Kyle Shanahan twice a year. Talk about that storyline leading up to that. That would be a week 1 matchup type of game of what we just talked about when the schedule comes out. That would be one that I would enjoy. And I think it would allow him to be on a team and in a franchise with Pete Carroll and somewhere where he can build and possibly be the guy there in Seattle. And kind of like what Tom just said, they have quarterbacks there that might be able to start the season and give Jimmy time to kind of get acclimated to that offense.
That's why I'm with you. Jim, you go next.
I stumbled into this answer a couple weeks ago, and I'm just going to stay on it, which is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And people got after me on Twitter because their style doesn't fit Jimmy G's offense. That's not okay. If we're going to go by Tom's logic, which I was really buying into, which was they don't need him to start week 1. You might need him to do some stuff for them down the stretch in case their quarterback needs to take a hiatus in the middle of the season. And he is no longer that rookie like he was in New England, where Tom Brady is like, again, and I said this, and I'm going to repeat the joke, which is like, who's the most handsome quarterback in the room? You're not really sure. It doesn't matter anymore. You both are established, confident men who can handle the fact that you're both in the quarterback room. You're fine. Like, egos aside, Tampa Bay is the place for Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, that is a place that he can grow. Get a new coordinator that fits Jimmy Garoppolo's style for years to come. But if he could just go to Tampa Bay, like, it's such a good answer, Tom. You're listening, you're buying into it.
No, I'm just thinking it's kind of like when Kyle and I are on the same set. We're just always a walk in, we look at each other across the table. It's just like, this is handsome, I'm handsome.
Start your engines.
Like, you have to get over that hump initially here.
But I think it was an issue. I think it was an issue in New England when they were both there, and Tom Brady's like, what is this? What is happening here? Well, guess what? Like, they're fine now. Everything's fine. They've moved on.
Could not agree with you more. I think that Jim Garoppolo is a little too good and a little too handsome. It's like the hot pool boy. Like, you don't want him around. Get out of here. I don't want you around between my wife and I think he shipped him off. But I'm going to go back to Seattle. Because the question is, where do you want him? Where would you like to see him, most likely? They've been telling us since March, when Russell Wilson left the Seahawks, we're going to go with Geno and Locke. And we're like, are you sure? Are you sure? And we're waiting. Now we're here in August, and like, they're going with Geno and Locke, I think, unless Jimmy gets cut, and all of a sudden now, I'll build upon it. Week 1, Russell Wilson with the Broncos against Jimmy Garoppolo and the Seahawks. That's the matchup I want to see. And I still don't buy that you're going to go into the season with Drew Lock and Geno Smith. 2 guys who I like and are likable and play pretty good. But you got an NFC champion and a Super Bowl starter just sitting there, and you can just stab the 49ers in the process twice. That's what I want to see.
I will say this. I was in Seattle or in Renton like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. At that point, Drew Lock, it was pretty clear, was ahead in the quarterback competition. Even though Geno Smith had gotten the first preseason start and he was getting the first team reps, Locke had been the better quarterback. Locke was supposed to start last Thursday night against the Bears, then goes out, practices badly, comes in, tells the coaches, I do not feel good. His legs were wobbly in practice, goes in, gets tested, he's got COVID, he's out. He's back in the building. He was on the practice field yesterday. Full anticipation. I believe that he's going to play and most likely start coming up this weekend. Let's see what he does. I don't know that Seattle thinks Jimmy Garoppolo is that huge of an upgrade on a guy who they thought really highly of when he came out of Missouri. He's got a lot of talent. He's this big, tall, athletic guy. He can throw, and he throws the ball well. He threw it well the day that I was there. Let's see what Locke looks like in this preseason game, because to the point that you guys made, if it doesn't look good, and if you're sitting back there going, we got all this speed at receiver, we think we can be a pretty good young defense here, we need to help the quarterback position, then maybe you revisit it.
It is mind-blowing once you consider the receivers that are in Seattle.
Yes.
Quarterback, yeah.